This is Spotlight, a series inspired by Spin's journey of reimagining mobility in cities. Join us as we host conversations with innovators and influencers who are shaking things up. Hi, so I'm Ewan, I'm founder of Spin, the electric scooter company, and this is the Spotlight series. And here I have, I'm really so excited to have Spencer here. Spencer X, is that your?
Yes, Spencer X. What's up, everybody? This is Spencer X, and I'm happy to be here at Spin headquarters.
Awesome. And so here at Spotlight, what we're doing is we bring in friends from music, from art, from design, from all sorts of different places that share our general inspiration for bringing new creative things to the world. As a company, we were pretty bold and I guess instigators in our own right of bringing a new form of mobility to city streets and to campuses, and really excited to share stories from our network and really dig into what makes people tick and how people have shaped their careers and really have forged their own unique path. So really excited here.
Doing a great job, I gotta say that.
Awesome. Without further ado, really wanted to I guess let our viewers and listeners know more about you and what your story is.
Awesome. Well, my name is Spencer. I'm from Manhattan, New York City, and I'm a professional beatboxer.
Nice. So what is beatboxing? I know what beatboxing is, but maybe not some of the folks out there.
Beatboxing is the form of a vocal percussion, as I'd say, or a vocal emulation. So it's creating through vocals. I like to say it's speaking music.
Like when you found it, well, how's the art, when you first started getting into it, and how's it evolved since? So
I started, when I was 14 years old, and the original scene was on YouTube.
Right.
So it was global, everywhere around the world, places that have beatboxing as such a core, fundamental underground scene.
Yeah.
So in Spain, there was France, all over Europe, and then in New York, there was a scene as well.
Yeah.
Originally, I found it on YouTube, and it's pretty prevalent in the internet for sure. The scene is very, very much like a battle scene, almost not like b-boying, like a lot of dancing, like a lot of rap. But right now, I think 2019 is really, really strong in the creative community.
Mm-hmm. So when you got started, what drew you to beatboxing in the first place?
The magic. I think it's absolutely incredible that we're able to speak in rhythm. And there's so many rhythmic placements of things in the world, like our heart beating, or the rotation of the earth, or calendar, days, nights, all of that. The fact that we're able to communicate through rhythm, and then using everything that you've ever said or thought, you can put that into beats, into words. When I first heard of beatboxing, when I first saw it, my friend Scott came up to me during tennis practice, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna show you something you've never seen before." And I was like every 14-year-old in New York City, and I'm like, "I know you're gonna tell me. You're gonna pull something behind your back, you're gonna make fun of me, I don't know." I didn't really believe him. And he starts beatboxing. I freak out. I thought he was David Blaine. I'm like, there's no way that you just did that in front of me right now. I was looking are there chords or something? Yeah. I lost it, completely lost it. And I decided to go home that night, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a beatboxer. Today, I'm gonna be a beatboxer. Right. And when I tell you I didn't shut off my computer, I watched every single video.
Forget your homework, forget everything.
Forget everything. Yeah. And eventually I did.
Yeah.
But forget every single thing on earth. I knew that this was my purpose because it just made me feel happy.
Right.
Eventually became my best friend.
Did you grow up from a music background? Did you?
Not at all. So here's the thing with me. Yeah. I grew up from a very, I want to say entertaining background. Huh. I was into theater as a kid.
Yeah.
I did Greco-Roman theater. I traveled to Italy and Greece, did a little stand-up when I was a child. Always very, very talkative. My parents literally told me, "Spencer, when you were a kid, you'd never shut up." And it's true. I used to talk to everyone, homeless people. My guidance counselor in elementary school used to talk to me, and I used to ask them questions. I've always been a very, very outgoing person, social butterfly. And I think that's why beatboxing was so, close to me, is because I was able to put my voice somewhere else, and I was able to communicate in other means. I think beatboxing and me have been close together for longer than I've actually been beatboxing, because what I like to think of beatboxing is almost as an extension of your voice. So when I think of beatboxing, I'm not thinking like, oh, boots and cats, here's some cool beats. I'm thinking like, wow, how do I convey like this emotion? You know, like past speaking. And that's where it gets really, really interesting for me. It's almost like we're communicating like in frequencies, you know? And we're doing something different than just talking. We're doing like the universal language, and that's what beatboxing is.
Yeah, I mean, music is the universal language, and obviously rhythm is the fundamental backbone of it. And you were just alluding to it earlier, you've got quite an interesting, I mean, from travel to personally your own ethnic background. You're part Chinese, you're half?
Yeah, I'm half Ecuadorian, half Chinese.
That's a really interesting mix. I mean,
Very
I don't think
interesting
I've
mix.
met anyone that.
I think even my parents are still confused.
Yeah, can you draw in musical inspiration from some of your own like heritage and?
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, my dad actually used to be into some acting, and he went to college for acting, and he really wanted to be an actor, but he was better as like an editor and cinema photographer. So he went down that route. But growing up, he wanted to put me in as many places as I could be. So it's really, really weird, but like my upbringing actually had nothing to do with beatboxing. It had everything to do with everything except for beatboxing. But that led me into beatboxing. So my father's actually a tennis coach. My mom worked for the Board of Education. So my dad wanted me to be a tennis player. Like literally as soon as I could pick up a tennis racket, he was like throwing balls at me. So aggressive. He's like,
now you get the tennis sounds.
Oh yeah.
Now you get there.
So he wanted me to play tennis from such a young age. And they wanted me to play tennis, they wanted me to act, they wanted me to like cook, they wanted me to do photography, all these things. And then you could imagine their faces when I'm like, I want to be a beatboxer. And they're like, what is that? What is beatboxing? And I think that's just part of my journey is I had to prove that, not necessarily like to them, but to myself, that I could do this thing that I loved so much.
Yeah, well, would love to explore that journey from when you saw that first like YouTube video to when you kind of sort of had your first YouTube breakout. I mean, the first few weeks were you just on your laptop mic trying to fiddle around with
when I say
software?
So my dad had a camera, right? And it wasn't a very good camera, it was a point and shoot camera. And I used to balance this on every book in the house, on every VHS that they had, on DVDs, on shoe boxes. I taped it to like a toaster one time. And I realized that what I had to do, if I was gonna be a professional beatboxer, you know, this is something outside the norm. Like my dad comes from Ecuador. My mom is first generation here in New York City, but she's in Queens. Her family is from China, like very, very new to this idea of creative. I really, really had to get outside of the box in order to explore my options. I knew that what I had to do, above all, was get outside my comfort zone. And the only way to do that was by putting myself in as many situations that were collaborative and that made sense within beatboxing, which to me could have been anything. So immediately when I started beatboxing, I said, I need to make videos, because outside of the physical world, I need to get into the internet. Like, that's how I'm gonna get in front of people's faces. And then when I'm not making videos, I'm gonna be busking. So I was in Union Square like 5 times a week, literally for like 3 to 4 hours, just beatboxing in front of people that were trying to get to work. Right. Like trying to get a sandwich. You know,
what was
like,
that first time like? Were you jittery?
I was so nervous.
Yeah. I mean, there are no rules. Do you have to, you know?
Oh, there are rules.
Are there rules?
So
the rules of the street. Interesting.
I've gotten kicked out a couple of times.
Oh, nice.
Made great stories, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to get out there. Truly, like that's all I wanted to do. And if it meant me getting kicked out, if it meant me having to pay a fine, you know, every now and then, like that's what I had to do. I did that for a while. Like eventually, an a cappella group found me, and I was part of the a cappella group. We made YouTube videos. We ended up touring. But I mean, besides that, I knew that I had to get to open mics. So I went to every open mic I could. Downtown Manhattan, uptown Manhattan, midtown Manhattan, Queens, everywhere I could. Then YouTube was a big factor as well. And I tried to get on every mic that I could and join every band that I could. And that was super important to me, because I was like, all right, what band has a beatboxer? And I'm like, none. So let me be the person to do that. So I went from like bluegrass to like rock. I was part of a Russian rock band at one point. Oh my, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was absolutely crazy. The first day that we had our show, they gave me 7 pieces of paper and they're like, you need to learn 7 songs in an hour.
Yeah.
And I was their drummer, they didn't have a drummer. So that was wild. Into hip hop groups, spoken word, pop, jazz was huge with me. And I just realized I need to get myself into these places because if I'm gonna be proficient in beatboxing, I need to learn how to work with others. And then eventually work with myself.
Right.
I did all these things. It was a really crazy ride. And then eventually my YouTube popped. I had some videos that started doing really well. And then, some commercial work came in. And I started just capitalizing. And I said, like, this is something I really have to triple, quadruple down in. And so I made some series on YouTube, and I realized that the grounds right now on YouTube, at least like beatboxing is my market, I realized that it's an open market for me because there's not a lot of people that are doing it. And
what year was this when you first got on YouTube, your first video? 5 years ago now? 2015,
This is actually my second channel on YouTube. My original channel I had like when I was, let's see, I think I must have been on YouTube for like 10 years, I want to say. Because, and you're right, what really ended up popping was a video 5 years ago. Don't look it up. It's called One Beatboxer, 20 Sound Effects. I said to me, what's the funnest thing about beatboxing? Sounds. And so I said to myself, how am I going to get other people to really mess with beatboxing? All right, well, if it feels good to me, it must feel good to other people.
Yeah, something relatable.
It was a gut feeling. And so one day I made it as a joke. I was eating lunch and I just called one of my friends and I'm like, hey, can we record a video right now? He's like, yeah, man, what are you doing in 30 minutes? And I'm like, nothing, let's do it. I went to his place, literally recorded it in 20 minutes. Off the whim, I had like notes on my phone. I'm like, what is this again? I'm gonna make a duck sound. And like, all right, now water sound. It's like, okay, cool, let's do this. I put the video together in a week. I release it, didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
One day I wake up and it's at like 100,000 views. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never had so many people see me in general this much. And it grew and it grew and it grew. Eventually, right now it's at 6 million, which is still wild to me. And I decided, okay, if I made one beatboxer 20 sound effects, I'm just gonna make one beatboxer 40 sound effects. I'm gonna make one beatboxer 40 snares. I'm gonna do kicks. I'm gonna do basses. I'm gonna do emojis. I'm gonna do ringtones. I'm gonna place beatboxing in places that no one's ever seen it before. And so that's been really important to me. Is when I started my journey, I said, how am I gonna map out to be the beatboxer? Because for my parents, they were like, hey Spencer, who do you have to look up to? You know? And even the people that I did look up to, they were like, yeah, but who's their Beyonce? You know?
Well, forging your own path, you got to create.
Exactly.
It's you're the first one. You're gonna.
I had to be a trailblazer.
Yeah.
I had to. I had
learn from others at the same time, right?
Exactly, but I had to tell my parents, like, who are you looking up to? I had to say myself. I had to say, I have to do this. If there's nobody else that like I can look up to, then you're looking at the person right now. And that's when I realized this journey is a lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
And I really had to buckle down and just quadruple, septuple down on everything that's going on around me.
Yeah. I mean, it's always fun to always look back at like the early days as well. I mean, you mentioned 10 years of YouTube history, and you just starting. There's a lot of work that goes into. There's a lot of YouTube.
YouTube's not a joke.
Yeah. I guess the first 4 or 5 years, was it still a hobby? It was something you would. When did you make that first that transition to whatever you would term full time into this?
I want to say like within like the last like 3 years, it's been like very full time.
Right.
But honestly, like within the last year itself, I want to say year and a half, like it's taken over my life completely.
Nice.
So I mean, now I'm working really close with Monster Energy. They're my sponsor. B&H Photo.
Yeah.
I'm partnered with YouTube as well. I'm really big on TikTok. Shout outs to TikTok. That's actually
you known in the tech world now.
Hey,
on Spin.
Listen, I'm just saying, TikTok is the reason for why I moved out to LA. It's been absolutely incredible. I performed over at VidCon for BH Photo, and it's changed my life, honestly. There's been a really, really big shift, I want to say, when I decided to double down on YouTube, when I decided to double down on social. Because I realized the reach on social is just as important as you going out on any stage, period. And
probably more important, I mean, given the scale that you're dealing with.
Because you can do it at any second of the day.
Yeah.
You can reach out to as many people.
Even when you're sleeping.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Literally, while you're sleeping, people will reach out to you.
Yeah.
And you're wake up the next morning, you're oh, okay, that's cool. Let's go here, let's do this.
Yeah.
So.
Have you kind of fully grasped the implications of that yet? This is kind of becoming a real thing and almost a company of yourself, right?
It's definitely a weird feeling.
Yeah.
But it's a very good feeling. Mm-hmm. I feel so much freedom with what I have right now. I'm really happy with the life that I've made myself. I'm all for every single thing that's going on. I feel honestly, it feels like I can do anything with beatboxing right now. And that's kind of the grounds that I want to go on, or to be in, is I want to be the beatboxer that takes it outside of what you think is possible with beatboxing. And so that's where YouTube comes in with collaborations. So I've decided, let me make my channel as diverse as possible. And so collaborating with a cappella groups, or saxophonists, drummers, doing video game sound effects, sampling my sounds and creating entire instrumentals, or just doing stuff within acting. And that's where TikTok comes in, really, really heavy right now, is skits and whatnot. It's almost like Vine has recome, and taken over. But I do have a background in a lot of different things. And I realized that beatboxing isn't just music, but it's just a form of communication. It's just another voice.
Yeah. So it works on across different mediums as well. Do you have to keep up with a lot of different shifts in platform, how active? What do you see in terms of the different platforms? I mean, with YouTube being still a gigantic force, but newer platforms, whether it's TikTok, Snap, and Instagram, how do they all fit into your world?
I think every platform has a different landscape, I think social media is kind of like real estate, right? So if you post, you're buying a house or something, right? Or you're buying a billboard. And this is some way that you can advertise, your message, who you are, what you're doing. So I'm on every platform every day. I want to say YouTube has been my baby, for all my life. But TikTok has really, really taken over my daily life. And this is very, very interesting for me, because I always thought that YouTube would have been my thing. And it was for a very, very long time, until the last month. So it's been really, really, really crazy.
That's how fast things change too, right?
So fast, man. I've been on TikTok for about 6 months now. And to see its growth and its effect on my daily life, I'm getting recognized on the daily. Every concert that I've done since I signed with Monster this year, I've been recognized.
That's wild.
Every single one that I've had, I've been recognized because of TikTok. Huh. Now that blows my mind. Because these are kids that want my autograph, they want my pictures, and I've never had this happen because of YouTube. I've never had this happen because of Instagram. And I'm on Instagram every day. I'm on YouTube responding to people every day. But TikTok, I'm on maybe 4 or 5 times a day. I'm really, really quadrupling down on this platform because I see that the attention there is just so strong. It's really, really, really strong. And my growth has been insane as of lately. Yeah. So I'm really, really excited to see where it's going to go and what's going to happen because of it. But the entire social media landscape is definitely dictating a lot of things in the world. And I think we're at such a young stage within it that we don't even know exactly what's going on with it. Honestly, we're tasting it right now, but I think in 10 years it's going to consume everything. And I don't think social media is going away anytime soon. I think when we're all 70, we're still gonna have all right, hey, you want a coupon for Whole Foods? All right, well that's gonna be a post and a thing here, yada yada yada. And I think they'll have to win giveaways and stuff like that for attention. Yeah. For attention.
That's still limited, and I guess that's where everyone's competing for that limited amount of. You only have 24 hours in a day.
You gotta put out as much as you can and be as creative as you can too.
Yeah.
I think just being authentic is the best way to go about it. If you're authentic, you love what you do, people will see that you're truthful and they will feel that you love.
Yeah. Speaking of authentic, actually, I'm curious, as you've been meeting other people, in the industry, in the YouTube industry, do you see commonality between you and other creators? I mean, these are people from all sorts of different walks of life or like different backgrounds, right? I'm curious what your interactions have been. Or
it's crazy. I feel so close to that. Like I feel like I actually have like family in LA.
Right.
And it's weird for me to say, like I always knew that I wanted to get into acting. Like later on in life, I'm like, a dream of mine is to like be part of like a Hollywood blockbuster movie, like to be in their soundtrack and to like act within it. Like I want to be in a Marvel movie, to be honest with you. I want to be a superhero.
Yeah.
Like, and that for me is like super, super important to me. And then coming to LA and like being within these groups, these communities, I get along with actors so well. Like, I didn't say this, but growing up, I listened to so much stand-up comedy. And that's what got me to go on stage. That's what got me to transition, be like, all right, you know what I have to do? You just have to be yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta talk. Sometimes be self-deprecating, like screw it, like, all right, I messed up, what? Like, like, hey, I'm human too. And that's where common interest lies. And so like, I get along with like, the acting community there, the music community, and it's been really, really great so far. Like I find that people that want to create content have such a strong relationship with each other.
It must be fun to just riff with people too, right? I mean, creatives build upon like, hey, why don't you put your thing on here?
It's so unique because of what I'm doing. I almost think that like every idea is the best idea I've ever had. No, seriously. All right, I'm not gonna even joke. My presence has like really, really went up since I've been to LA because of collaborations.
Yeah.
I have done over 55 collaborations in the last 3 weeks in LA because I think that all the ideas are amazing.
Like this one.
Because they're all unique.
Yeah.
Because they're all about beatboxing. No one's seen creative beatbox content before. But like if you place it within like, actors that are doing their own thing or like situations, you can make anything into content. And that's the conversation that I'm gonna be having later on this week. I'm actually gonna be going to collab headquarters. And like, I'm just convinced and they're convinced we're gonna make stuff happen. Like, creative content with beatboxing, I think, is completely open because it's sound-based, but it's also just has that wow factor that like, you don't expect for someone to just straight up go like, if that was the first time I saw that, I'd run, I'd freak out. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, what's actually happening right now? So I think that there's so much room to play around with. And that's where like the common interest lies, is it's just fun. People are just having fun. And that's what I like about creatives. Everyone's just there to have a good time.
Yeah. How about roadblocks? I'm pretty curious. I mean, getting started might have been like a slower road.
It's still everything, every day you come across a roadblock.
Yeah.
But if you don't make it fun, if you're not there for the process, then you're not gonna have fun ever,
Right.
So, I mean.
Has there been a time since you started YouTube? I mean, did anything with the accounts or anything like that you've got?
There's been so much. I've been through a lot to get to where I am right now. I wanna say, man, if we're really putting it on the table, when I started beatboxing, like, you gotta understand, beatboxing is the love of my life. Like, my best friend. Like, I would never leave beatboxing for anything. If someone makes fun of beatboxing, I'm like there for beatboxing. When I started beatboxing, my entire family, when I say like my immediate family, I mean all of my family. I mean my close friends, and I mean everyone at school, everyone that I knew. Nobody believed that I could do it. No one thought that I could make it into a profession. No one thought that I would be even remotely successful at it. They were like, it's a hobby, it's cool. This is, might be a gimmick. It might be like something that you just like. It's a passion. That's great, but you're still going to college. You're still becoming a doctor. You're still gonna play tennis. We might have like an athletic career for you. But no, like I believed it so strongly that I had to get over the fact that every single person, and still to this day, I know this for a fact, every single person that I'm gonna meet, I'm gonna have to be that person to show them that beatboxing can work. And that's why I'm on a mission right now. Like, I am just like in it, like, again, quadrupling down on the fact that, like, you know, if I'm able to just spread beatbox, if I'm able to bring cultures, age groups, people together based on our voice, like, and just bring a little happiness into the world, then I've won. So it's gonna be an ongoing battle for the rest of my life, honestly. Like, I know because it's so new, until there's that snap, that breaking point. And I don't know, you know, when that's gonna happen. Maybe it already has happened. I have no idea, to be honest with you. But it's been a battle. Like, everyone in the music industry, everyone in any industry, you know, like, the most successful beatboxer out there right now, like, you know, is still facing those things. Because the truth is, there's no Hollywood beatboxer just yet. But that's my goal.
That's all gonna change.
Exactly.
You know what, tech is so crazy, like, you know, what you were saying with how nobody thought that, like, beatboxing could be a thing, but
Man, Silicon Valley must feel weird.
Tech, like, amplifies, right? Like, so the fact is, like, it used to be that within your small, you know, within your city, there probably wasn't enough, like, of interest in beatboxing to, like, make a thing, but you amplify it by
New York is so
the world,
business
right?
centered. They're just focused on, like, all right, you're a beatboxer? Well, what are your socials like, and what can you do for us?
Right.
And, like, at first it's like nothing, because I'm like, all right, I got a little YouTube, and they're like, all right, that's cool.
But if you amplify it throughout the world, if you create a little bit of joy for, like, a lot of people.
Exactly. I just want to make people happy with beatboxing.
Yeah.
If I can make someone happy with beatboxing, like, I know that I've done my part. Like, I'm not beatboxing for myself. I'm beatboxing for everyone else. I get, like, chills. It's weird. It's really, really weird. But yeah, to spread your voice, you got to think, you can't be one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You got to be everywhere. And the only way to be everywhere is to be physically everywhere. You can only be in so many places at once. But online, you can be at so many places. And
you think there's a moment where you switch into mainstream, though? I mean, there's all these YouTube success stories. I mean, didn't Bieber start on YouTube as well?
It's true.
Like,
well, you know what? David Dobrik started on Vine.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? And then transitioned into YouTube. But all the people that were top heavy on Vine ended up transitioning to other platforms. And so that's where I'm seeing, like, you know, my growth on YouTube has exploded since I started TikTok. I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to be growing, like, you know, fast on the platform. I found out the other day that I'm in the top 10 in America right now, fastest growing TikToks in the world right now.
Who's
on
one?
America.
Who's the one?
I don't know, actually. I might be one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, they just said I'm in the top 10.
That's a great medium for you, though, right? It's musical by nature.
It's all sound-based. I just beatbox. I beatbox. It's insane.
Yeah.
I beatbox, and then I do lifestyle stuff. Like, I do, like, you know, I'm making a vlog right now on TikTok, like, literally a 10-second vlog of my experience coming to San Fran. Like, it's me, like, in an Uber, and then, like, transitions, like, into the airport, and then touching down at the airport, and then I have, like, the bay and, like, a little bit here, and I'm gonna just end up, like, being around San Fran and probably doing something in the office here. I think what would be really, really cool right now is if I were to like portray some, like, what I like about beatboxing is all about communication, right? So when you think about, like, frequencies of voice, you're like, oh, okay, what's, like, a mad frequency? Like, all right, maybe it's like boom, 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 boom. All right, what's, like, you know, a romantic, like, so if I were to, like, put into feeling what riding on spin would be like, that's about it. Spin, scooters.
So I think that with that, I think we'll end it right here. And thank you again so much for
Thank you so much for having me here. So you can find me on all social media at I am Spencer X, on TikTok at Spencer X. Thank you, TikTok, for having me get the handle. And you can look me up on YouTube at Spencer X as well.